Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is the third lecture in the series of this motivation, terrorism, and performance. Yesterday, we talked about this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We discussed that if you are fulfilling the basic needs in some hierarchical terms of the employees, they can be motivated and they can actualize their self potentials. Their potentials will be depending on that how much they are satisfied with their basic kind of a problems. Like say for example, if they are not able, like if they are not getting enough salary, that they are able to meet with the need of their food, warmth, and other kind of the basic needs. And similarly, they don't feel secure when they are in the organization or outside the organization. And similarly, they are not associated with the people, like they are not, we are social animals, so we want associations with other people. If you don't have friends, if you don't have got intimate relationships, you definitely have a kind of a psychological problems. And similarly, like if you are able to have these all kind of needs fulfilled, you become a self-actualized person, a person who is able to achieve his full potential, including creative activities. uh, we were discussing about the developed world. In the developed world, the people are generally a lot accomplished. They achieve a lot of things in their lives because they don't have to worry about the basic problems in their lives. Like say, for example, the physiological needs. They don't have to worry about. They are not concerned about their safety. They are not. They have a relationships with other people. They are dealt respectfully at every place. Today we are moving further, and we are going to talk about this theory X and theory Y. Like there are always different schools of thought. They have different point of views about the uh, understanding of the employees. Like you some of the people think that the employees are inherently ineffective, inefficient, lazy. They don't want to work. They don't want to take responsibility. And since the people are like that, you have to be forced. Like you have to force them to, if you want them to, like get things done. Similarly, there is another school of thought which assume that the employees are not uh, like procrastinators. They don't delay work. They are not lazy. They like work. They are creative. They look for responsibility. They actually have got their own directions, but somehow you need to motivate them, and somehow you need to basically like direct them towards the work. Now, if I ask you this question, say for example, if I ask your general impression about the labor or employees in Pakistan, what kind of school you belong to? Do you think the people are like uh, lazy? They don't want to work. They are not interested in work. They actually shirk their work. They, whatever the work is given to them, they don't perform it properly because of their nature, because of their uh, laziness, or because of the habit of not working. So do you think we need to have got a very strict kind of administration which should force people to work rather than just asking them to work? So it cannot work in our environment, because like say for example, if you think that the people are naturally lazy and they don't like to work, or you think the people are very much motivated, they don't find the opportunity, they are not, they like to have responsibilities, they actually have got their own directions, and they are good, but they don't actually have got they are needed to be directed and they are needed to be used, because they are not by nature, they are not lazy, by nature they are not shirkers, by nature they are not the people who do not want to fulfill the responsibility that is given to them. Now, does anybody want to say something about this? Gee, we were talking about what group generally people belong to in Pakistan. So you have got divided opinion about it. That some of the people think the people are generally lazy, and some of the people think that they are not lazy. They want to work. They are creative. They actually like to have work, but sometimes they don't get the opportunity. So these are the two theories in management, and these theories depend on that what kind of stance you have to take. Like say for example, if you are a military platoon commander, and you are trying to train your people, like, for certain purpose, you are training them, you are giving them training, you are now, what kind of opinion you have got about these people? If you belong to the, you will be very strict with those people, you will use all the force, you will use them work. But if you belong to the second group, like, if you believe that the people like work, they are creative, they generally seek responsibility, and they have got their own self directions, then your attitude towards these people will be different. Like, you'll be treating them differently. Like, say for example, some of the parents, when they talk about their children, uh, I was telling you that if you believe in the theory X, your actions, your ways of managing people and taking them work from them will be quite different. But if you belong to theory Y, your attitude towards your employees will be different. You will be treating them differently. You will be actually, like, trying to take their work in a very different way. Like I was telling you that some of the parents think their children don't want to study. They are by nature lazy. They actually don't want to study. They don't want to learn. They don't want to spend time at the study table. They want to play. They want to basically enjoy their lives. They want to socialize. They want to do this or that thing. They are not naturally, they are not like, they don't like reading or studying. But some of the parents think that the children basically are very much interested. They actually, like, they motivate them, and they try to, like, to take work from them. Okay, so this was a theory of Mr. Gregor's. Like, this theory X says that average person dislikes work and will avoid it if possible. Okay, people must be controlled. Like, if you are a believer of the theory X, you will use force to take work from the people. Like, that is what something is you do basically, like, and that all depends on the beliefs. Like, say for example, some of the managers who join to the different departments, they have a different nature, they have a different understanding of the human behaviors. Some of the people think like that people are shirkers, they don't like to work, they should be controlled. Like, you should be very harsh on them, you should be taking strict measures to get these all people like, to work and things done. According to this theory, the average person prefers to be directed. He or she avoids responsibility, is an ambitious and wants security, like, and they basically are the people who are problematic for the organization. That's what basically some of the managers think. But, like, some of the people think that the work is as natural as play or rest, because, like, when you're working, some of the people when read the book, they enjoy it, like, they feel fresh. But some of the people when read the book, they feel bored, they feel sleepy, they feel actually like, that they have been bound by something which actually they didn't like. But if you believe in theory Y, you actually think that the work is as natural as play. Workers can be motivated using positive incentives. The average person seeks out responsibility. And this is what something, like, if you are a manager of an organization or a department, which way would you like to take work from your people? Okay, so this theory X and theory Y are the two beliefs about the two different kinds of people. One particular school of thought has different ways of managing people and resources. Another school of thought has got different ways and managing different kind of people. So generally in the developed world, more managers actually are inclined towards theory Y, because they assume that the people who are coming to the work, they are basically coming for their passion, and they are coming for the, like, for because they are interested into this. So we can direct them towards good purposes, we can actually get some very good things done from them, but if only we give them incentive, and they basically their works are incentivized, their efforts are rewarded, and they basically get a lot of, like, a kind of uh, encouragement with their work. So they basically perform well, and that's what basically, and generally the results of theory Y are a lot bigger and better than the believers of theory X. Another theory, basically the motivation, actually, you know that in this particular chapter, we are talking about different kinds of theories related to the motivation, that what motivates people. Like, if you really want to get things done, what you should do, like, should you be like looking at their all the needs which they actually have, and then you basically, like, try to get them to some kind of a place where they can actually realize their potentials and they can do what they are really meant to do. Or the second theory, as we talked about, like, your that depends on your belief, that what kind of belief you have got about the people. If you think that the people are uh, naturally lazy, you actually like do something different. And if you think people are not lazy, but they are not, basically they need some incentive to work, so you basically follow a different kind of theory. Now there is a Herzberg's theory. This is a motivator hygiene theory. And what basically the Frederick Herzberg studies addresses, it actually tries to ask the question, what do people really want from their work experience? What do people really want from their work experience? Uh, in this theory was presented in the late 1950s, and he basically surveyed a lot of people and to find out what particular work elements made feel exceptionally good or bad about their jobs. Like, say for example, it has not been very long, you are studying at University of Karachi, or you have been studying at different colleges or schools for some time. What actually is a good or bad things that you observe, like, what motivates you and what demotivates you. Like, say for example, if I talk about the education and I ask this question from you, what are the factors that actually encourage you to work more, and what are the factors that discourage you? Like, say for example, it could be the attitude of the teacher. Say for example, if the teacher's attitude is not good, if the teacher is not treating you well, or if the teacher is not behaving well with you, that might be a cause of distress for you, and that might cause you, like, that's the bad thing that you feel about university, colleges, class, or some kind of study. And say for example, the working environment and the learning environment around you, your people basically around you are learners, they are basically working, they are actually trying hard. So that basically brings something out of your, like, mind, and you just try to achieve something in your life. So if I ask you these kind of factors, like, say for example, if you look at the factors of the study that Herzberg conducted, uh, according to his results, certain job factors are consistently related to the employee's job satisfaction. Like, if you compare this job satisfaction with your university satisfaction, like, what makes you happy about your university and what makes you sad about university. Like, say for example, what is good thing when you think about your university, and what are the bad things that when you think about your university, while others can create job satisfaction. According to Herzberg, motivating factors are also called job satisfiers. They are primarily intrinsic job elements that lead to satisfaction, and hygiene factors are called the job dissatisfiers. All right. Some are the motivation factors and some are the hygiene factors, and are in, like, they are extrinsic exam elements of the work environment. Now, if you look at the motivating factors for the job, say for example, achievement, your recognition, like, you are recognized, your efforts are recognized, you are recognized. Work itself, like, say for example, like, generally student ask that what we should do in our careers. I always tell to them, and that is what basically is the basic or good idea about it, that you should do what you enjoy doing. Like, say for example, if you enjoy teaching, you should teach, you should be teaching. If you enjoy painting, you should be painting. If you enjoy,
Yes,
like,
sir.
if you enjoy, like, working on something, you should be working on that thing. That work itself motivates you. Like, say for example, if you wanted to study sciences, say for example physics, and you have been put into this economics class, you will not be able to focus, you will not be enjoying this particular economics because you wanted to do physics or chemistry or some other kind of the, like, say for example sciences. Responsibility, like, initially if you give responsibility to children, they try to prove themselves, like, they try to come up with some kind of results. Like, when you give them responsibility, they generally feel very like, that they are being treated importantly. They are actually important in your view. Similarly, advancement, development in your careers or in your areas, and growth, like, how you are growing over time. Like when you work with some organization, तो आपके पास ये बड़ा important होता है कि आपको growth हो, like आप एक जगह stuck ना कर जाए. You just should not stuck at certain particular point of, like, point of career, that you are not moving ahead of it. Like, if you don't have got, like, say for example, if you are working somewhere and you are looking yourself 5 years down the road, where do you see yourself? Like, say for example, if you think there is a growth and you can prove yourself and you can grow, if you prove yourself, you will definitely try to prove yourself, and you will definitely try to work on something that actually can make you better and you can make you grow. What are the factors that basically can be hygiene factors? Say for example, company policy. Some policies of the company are so bad, like, they actually discourage people. Like, say for example, they are not in some of the companies, people are not allowed to speak or allowed to give comments or about to give suggestions, say for example, or strict rules or strict policies or strict kind of a thing, like, that basically can make you discouraged. Supervision. Sometimes your supervisors, the people who are supervising your work, are quite difficult to handle. So if that supervision is not good, like, and you are not being supervised properly, you will definitely be getting discouraged. The working conditions, like, say for example, what kind of environment you get when you work. Do you have got air conditioning available, like, during summer? You have got heating available during winter? You have got ventilation in your at your workplace? You are basically given all safety uh, like, dresses and safety instruments for having safety of your life and for your body. And how managers and other people have relationship with you. Do they respect you or they don't respect you? And similarly, salaries, like, every business, every worker who works with organizations, he or she always talks about salary and benefits. Like, nobody is happy with the salary he gets. Like, if you are getting 10,000 salary, you envy with the people who are getting 20,000. If you're getting 20,000, you basically are jealous with the people who are getting 50,000. The 50,000 salary people are looking for to compete with 100,000 per month salary people. And similarly, that goes on and on and on. And similarly, job security, like, there are so many situations here these days, that there are so many people lining up for or queuing up for the job. So the companies always have got the upper hand. Like, say for example, if you do a little bit wrong, or you are basically, like, you just make a small mistake, you are fired from the organization, because they know that if they fire you, they are going to get another person, like, and sometimes even better than you, because there are so many educated people who are looking for the jobs and they are not able to get the jobs. Now, if I ask you this similar question about your university, say for example, if you could name some of the motivating factors and hygiene factors related to your university right now, say for example, the environment there at the university. I know that it has not been very long that you are with the university here, but still, like, what you have observed, that what are the factors that are basically providing you motivation to study, and what are basically the factors that are there in the university which are, like, not discouraging you or not basically making you able to achieve your objectives. These hygiene factors and motivating factors are different kind of environments that help or obstruct your ways of achieving your goals in your life. इस तरह हाइजीन फैक्टर्स वो फैक्टर्स हैं जो कि बेसिकली आपको डिस्करेज करते हैं, और वो डिस्करेजमेंट बहुत सारी चीज़ों में हो सकती है कि आप like, say for example, you want to study more, but like you get less chance to interact with your teachers or environment. Library की facility आपके पास नहीं है, say for example, that might be a discouraging factor, or that might cause you a trouble. Like, everybody talks about the salary at the organization, and when you talk to the students, basically at every university they talk about marks. वो अपने मार्क्स के बारे में बात करते हैं कि जो हमने मेहनत की है उसके बदले में उतने मार्क्स नहीं मिलते, तो मार्क्स डिस्करेजिंग होते हैं लोगों के लिए, बहुत सारे लोगों के लिए. और इसी तरीके से अगर आपको प्रमोशंस मिल रहे हैं, अगर आपके ग्रेड्स अच्छे आ रहे हैं, तो दैट इज एनकरेजमेंट फॉर यू. तो आपको अगर अच्छे ग्रेड्स आएंगे, अच्छे ग्रेड्स आपको मिलेंगे और आपकी अच्छी प्रोग्रेस हो रही होगी, तो that will make you more enthusiastic, and that will help you or actually bring you to more work more and work harder. But if you are not getting good grades, you are not growing, you are not basically, you're stuck in, you have got stuck at certain point and you are not able to progress or proceed, then that will be very discouraging for you anyway. So these are the different kind of factors that might perhaps affect you. Another theory about this motivation is expectancy theory. Now, what is expectancy theory? It states that employees' motivation is an outcome of how much an individual wants a reward. The assessment that the likelihood that the efforts will lead to expected performance expectancy. What are you expecting? The expectancy theory says that people choose how to behave among alternative course of actions based on their expectation, what is to gain from each action. Like, what is your expectation? Like, say, for example, why are you studying at the university right now? Why do you want to do this degree? What is your expectation? Are you expecting to get a very good job? Are you expecting to get a very good status afterwards? Are you going to get a very good, what are you expecting from this degree? The expectations make you encourage you or discourage you from the work. Like, say, for example, if your expectation is this, that after completing this degree you will get a very good job and you will have a very good status and you will be able to support your family and you will be able to enjoy a very good life afterwards, that will make you quite interested in your work and you will be working a lot harder and you will be going extra mile to achieve the things basically that you are doing. Like, say, for example, if I'm asking you to study and you are expecting to get some reward after that studies, you will be studying, you will be working, you will be actually doing some kind of things. Like, say, for example, the motivating employees, the expectancy theory determine the reward valued by each employee. What employee want to get? Like, say, for example, I think being student, the expectations that you have got from your degree is what? Now, if I ask you this question, I want to take one or two comments from the students. What are your expectation from this degree? Like, what are you expecting to get after this degree of your BSEF? Yes, Sumer.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर।
जी, वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
सर मैं एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूँ कि इस डिग्री के बाद मेरी ग्रोथ अच्छी हो जाएगी और जो मैं जॉब कर रहा हूँ उसमें मेरी डेवलपमेंट हो जाएगी। मास्टर्स डिग्री का नाम है और इकोनॉमिक्स और फाइनेंस में काफ़ी अच्छा स्कोप है, तो मैं ये एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूँ कि मेरी
देखिए, if you really want to improve expectations of the people, and this expectancy theory says that determine the reward valued by each employee, what people want to get. Like, say, for example, this degree which we are offering to you people is a combination of economics and finance, and that's what basically this degree has been designed, so that you could get economics education and training of the finance to get better job. So that actually is a motivating factor for you. That's why you have taken admission into this degree. And determine the desired performance level. You also should determine that what people want to achieve in their lives, what kind of desired performance they have got, and make this performance level attainable. Like, say, for example, this is our job at university to make you able to achieve or actually fulfill your dreams. Like, if you want to get a good job, we should give you good training to get a job. Like, if you want to get better learning and better education, that is our responsibility being managers of yours, to give you better education. And we should also link rewards to the performance. Like, say, for example, you should be getting good marks, you should be getting good grades if you are working well, if you are working hard. And the people who are not working hard should not be rewarded well. So determine what factors might counteract the effectiveness of a reward. There are so many factors that might be discouraging for you, and that might cause you that might take you away from your objectives of your life. So that should not be used there. And make sure the reward is adequate for the level of performance, and whatever reward you are going to give should be enough. Like, say, for example, if you are employee, if you are giving a job to a person, the salary that you are setting for him should be enough to meet with his basic requirements and basic things in his life. All right. So, another theory that we are going to talk about is the equity theory. Like there is always, hold for a minute. Another theory is the equity theory. Like equity means a kind of fairness. Equity means kind of equality. What actually happens in the organizations, generally people feel discouraged when the two different people gets two different rewards for the same effort. Like say for example, if I compare this kind of a theory with your degree or with your education at university, if say for example there are two students who are writing the same material and working in a same like in a way but getting different rewards, one student is getting more marks than the other, like 1% is being rewarded more than the other. Now a person who is being rewarded more or being rewarded higher will be actually inclined to like of course having a different position from that person who is not getting good marks. So that will create a kind of inequality in the system, kind of inequity in the system. So the equity means that, like say for example, if the two people are working the same at the same place, they have got the same set of skills, they should be getting the same reward. So employees evaluate their outcomes in relation to their inputs and compare to their past experiences. And say, for example, if you were better, like say, for example, you can also compare yourself with other people, and you can also compare yourself with your own past. Like say, for example, in your previous degree, when you work that much hard, you got that much reward. But here you are working this much hard, but you are not getting that reward. Like say, for example, लास्ट जो आपकी डिग्री थी उसमें आपने जितनी मेहनत की उससे ज्यादा आपको रिवॉर्ड मिला, और यहाँ पर आप जो है वो ज्यादा मेहनत कर रहे हैं लेकिन आपका रिवॉर्ड कम है. तो दैट मेक्स थिंग्स बेसिकली वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर द पर्सन टू बी मोटिवेटेड. So a different position in the current organization or a different organization or to any other employees experience inside the organization, like say for example other people, जिस तरह मैंने आपसे मिसाल दी कि अगर आपका एक दूसरा दोस्त है जो कि सेम मटेरियल लिख रहा है और सेम एफर्ट कर रहा है, और he is or she is getting different marks because of some reason, like say for example because of the likes and dislikes of the teacher, or because of some kind of nepotism, like say for example he is related to the teacher, or he is not, he is in relation with the teacher or something like that, then actually it discourages people. The people basically feel so much discouraged, and that actually demotivate people. So the equity theory focuses on that there should be equality in the system. So equity theory, what are the choices? Employee choices if an equity exists. So employee choices if an inequality exists: change work habits. He starts shirking the job, like he start like behaving unexpectedly. Change job benefits and income. If you want to make people like feel equitable and feel equal with others, you should change the job benefits, distort their perception of themselves, and sometimes they feel very much bad about themselves. Like say for example, अगर एक parents हैं वो एक बच्चे को अच्छा treat करते हैं और एक बच्चे को बुरा treat करते हैं, the child that is being treated like not being treated well will actually have got a very bad impression about himself, and he will not be happy, and he will not be basically like enjoying, or he will actually have got a very bad perception about himself. And this also like inequitable distribution also distort their perception of others, and they look at situation from different perspective, and sometimes they give up. Sometimes they give up in the sense like they are not able to perform, and they basically, like say for example, if some people in your university or in your class are being rewarded well, and some people are not being rewarded well, the people who are not being rewarded well, they might leave their degrees and they can go somewhere else. This is basically a very bad thing, and that's what something happens when you basically have got unequal distribution. So yeah, actually I'm just doing it right now. So look at situation from different perspective. They basically like they start looking at the things from a different point of view, like you feel envied, you feel jealous, you feel bad, you feel very much neglected, and you leave the situation. This is the last point some of the student was asking to explain again. So you leave the situation means you don't continue with it, you don't, basically you just give up. आपके बहुत सारे, मिसाल के तौर पर बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स ऐसे हैं कि अगर उनको अनइक्वल उनके साथ ट्रीटमेंट हो रही हो, उनके साथ इनइक्विटेबल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो मार्क्स की, या इनइक्विटेबल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो बिहेवियर की और रिवॉर्ड्स की, तो they leave the university, they don't continue with the university, and similarly the people leave job. So another theory for the motivation is the goal setting theory. The goal setting theory is related to an individual's intention to work toward a goal is a primary source of motivation. Everybody should have got goal in his life. Everybody should have got an objective in his life. You should set an objective. Like, say, for example, if you do this, you will achieve this. You have a goal of this. Like, say, for example, what is your goal in your life? Like, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to be? Like, if you read all those books which actually help you make rich, they always emphasize that you should always have a goal in your mind. Like, say, for example, I want to buy a boat in the next 5 years. I want to earn, say, for example, 5 million rupees in the next 2 years. I want to reach to that particular place or position in 2 or 3, 4 years. So the goal setting is also another theory which says that, you can motivate people, or the people can be motivated by setting their goals, by setting, like, say, for example, what the goals they have got. If you actually somehow are able to set their objectives or targets or the goals in their lives, like, say, for example, the children sometimes are without goals. Like, say, for example, if I ask you that what do you want to be and where do you see yourself after 10 years, you will definitely be messed up, and you perhaps, if you have not thought about it, you will not be able to answer it. And you will, if you know exactly that what do you want to be in your life and how do you see yourself after 10 years, your working conditions, your working habits, your working environment, or your working, the way of your working will be very, very different. So specific goals lead to a higher level of performance. If you as a manager give a goal to a person, that you have to achieve this, then perhaps, you can expect higher motivation from that person. More difficult goals lead to better performance. Like, sometimes, if you say, for example, you're training children, you are training people, you are training a different kind of, like, say, for example, we being teacher, generally give goals to the people, you have to finish this, you have to read this, you have to perform this, you have to solve this. And that's the more difficult things basically make more people force doing better performance. And similarly, you should give feedback, you should give, you should be telling to the people, on progress towards the goal enhances performance. Like, say, for example, after every certain level, you should be evaluating the performance of the people, you should giving them feedback that either they are able to achieve their goals or not. So, and similarly, this is all actually, when you work for the organization, there are so many factors that can make you motivated to work. Like, say, for example, this, what happens that you get bored working at certain place for so long. That is why in so many organizations, the jobs are rotated. Like, say, for example, you work for some time in one department and you work for some time in some other department, you work for some time in yet another department. So this is called job rotation. You are rotated, you are moved from one job to another job, you are given, you are changed, jobs are changed, you move from one place to the other place, and you basically are given a different kind of task after some time. That basically creates a job rotation in your career, and that actually always gives you a new flavor. Like, say, for example, why people want to have vacations on the hill station, why do they want to have got vacations at different place, why you don't want to have vacations in Karachi, why do you, like, if you live in Karachi, why you don't want to have got vacations in Karachi? Like, there are so many people in Punjab, so many people living in Sawat and so many those areas, they want to have vacations in Karachi, and we Karachiites want to have vacations in Sawat or Murree or Quetta, or say, for example, at some places. Why people want to go to the different place? Like, say, for example, the people who are living far from Karachi, they want to have vacations in Karachi. The people who are living in Karachi wants to have vacations somewhere else. So this is basically that, because we need a change. And something similar happens with your in your job. If you get this change, like say for example, when you go for the vacations to Murray, or you just go to for the vacations to some hill station or some other places, which actually the place where you don't live, that basically is something like, say for example, ये जो cloudy weather है, we feel actually very good about it, we like this weather. But there are so many countries, there are so many places where people are sick of this cloudy weather. This is the weather which is called the gray weather. Like, so everybody wants to change, wants change. And that's what actually, like you can do. You can rotate their jobs, you can move them from one job to the other, so that their motivations keep there always. And similarly, like job enrichments and job enlargements, like you are given more jobs, bigger jobs, and your same jobs can be enriched. Like you can actually have got more kind of responsibilities, your job span could be increased. You can basically, like, say for example, if you're heading one department, along with that you might be also given the responsibility to actually look for some other kind of things. This is an enlargement. And for the same department, if your efforts or your expectations are being increased by the organizations, or your tasks are increased for the same job that you are doing, that is called the job enrichment. Both actually give a kind of like a kind of incentive to work, and they basically like change or make you feel important. When your jobs are enlarged, when your jobs actually enriched by the organizations, you feel important, because you actually basically have, like, you feel that, like, you are important for the organization, and your organization want you to do this and that particular kind of a thing in your job kind of a place. So we'll be continuing with this. This is two or three slides left for that.